Welcome to Daybreak with Lisa. Today's video is entitled Counting the Cost. It's something that I'm actually doing right now. It's something that I've been doing all along the way, knowing some things that I would lose, some things that I was going to have to invest in stepping into a new arena of ministry and talking about the end times and trying my best to warn the lost and wake the found. And so I had an encounter yesterday. I ran into someone at the grocery store, someone I dearly love. I still love her, but we're just in different places on what's going on here at the end. I believe if you asked her, she would say, yeah, well, I see we're at the end, yet nothing in her life has changed because of that. And so, to me, I don't understand how you can see where we are and live life differently. How can you go live 2019 life in a 2022 world? I just don't get it. Maybe it's because of my unique makeup. Maybe that because of how God has just wired me, that I see what's going on and I absolutely have to address it. So I know this person was on an email list where I sent out about everyone needs to prepare. I'd never heard anything back from her, and nothing was mentioned yesterday. And I can only say it was a really super awkward conversation. What makes me so sad is this is someone who's worked with me in ministry, helping me plan events and even like book release parties and speaking engagements where I was at a church. She would go with me to churches and kind of help me out and logistically just do some things there. So I know she used to really believe in what I was doing, and I know now she doesn't. So that was hurtful. Now, fortunately, I'm not the type of person that just gets so wounded that I can't continue on. So I will say that. And I know some people just feel things way more deeply than I probably do in some areas. But for me, I did walk away sad. That's pretty unusual for me. But it was because I realized how much I'm having to just agree to let go of friendships, and not that we can't be friends, but I just notice how awkward it is. I know the last dinner we had, my husband and her husband, it did get awkward because we were discussing these things, and I made very clear my opinion on that. This was when they were first rolling them out. Actually, I don't even know if they were out yet and available yet, but they both said, yeah, well, we don't really think that they're a good idea, but we're going to do it because we'll have to travel. Well, okay, then at least wait until somebody says you have to do this to travel. That's never happened here in the continental U.S. Everywhere they go is, usually is right here. So we were really in different places on this. And so I believe, because I know very soon after that they did, get what they got. And I know that through my husband. So I'm sure there's just some awkward feelings on their part that they know. I think it's not a good idea. I don't think it's safe. I know it's not effective. We all see now it's not effective since they are sicker than we are. But anyway, so it was just this really, really hard encounter, and I walked away feeling the effects of it. And I was telling Kim, if you've done some of my series, I've mentioned Kim. She's a ministry partner, and thank God for her through this past 2 years, because we are able to grapple with so much together. I hope you have your own Kim, your own Kimmy that you can talk with, but because without that, I would feel very alone in this. But anyway, we were talking, and I was just sharing how I felt. And she brought up the verse about counting the cost. Like when you're going to build a tower, you have to make sure that you are going to, that you count your cost first. Do you have enough to complete it? And do I personally have what it takes to continue on in this ministry and know that I'm being rejected, know that people don't agree with me, know that I'm being set aside in friend groups because I'm that crazy girl who's always talking about, hey, guess what, the rapture's coming. I think we need to be telling people. They don't want to tell people. They don't even want to admit where we are in this world because they don't want to let go of what they have. They have these great lives. They're raising kids. Some have younger kids and adult kids. They don't want to believe where we are because it's going to affect their life today. They're going to have to change things. So it is difficult. Now, do I personally, that's the question, do I personally have what it takes to continue on? No. But through the Spirit, through the power of God, do I have enough? Absolutely. And you do too. And so I want you to start to decide, what is God calling you to do, in being more vocal, in talking to people, even if they don't necessarily reject you, but you just feel that sense that they're disagreeing, they don't really want to hang out with you anymore. Are you willing to risk that? Are you willing for that to be your cost in order to be a little more vocal, because it's not just about warning the lost and getting people saved. I'm 100% on board with that. But right now, do you realize if we can wake up more believers, the reach we will have will be exponential, because I can only reach so many in my life. You can only reach so many. But if we wake up more believers and then we're all reaching the lost in our lives, then we're going to have greater numbers. But you've got to decide, is it worth it? Is it worth your reputation? Is it worth losing some friendships, or at least having some people kind of alienate you and you have some awkward encounters with people? Is it worth it? You have to count the cost. I've counted the cost even before I got started, before I released Daybreak. If you've read that, you know that I was very clear in what I see happening. It's a fiction book, free to you if you want it, but it's listed below. I'll put the link below. But I knew when I released that book it was going to change things for me, and it did. I have readers who have just for years and years, love what I've published and follow me and give me great feedback whenever I publish a new book. Almost crickets with this book. There's just so few people who even acknowledged what I wrote, because if they do, if they really choose to believe what I've shown them, and I know there are people who they've said that they actually would stop as they were reading, go research the facts that I laid out in this fiction book as true, and they would come back saying, hey, this is true, and they were realizing where we really are for the first time. They were opening their eyes and waking from a slumber. So, but now I've just noticed that most people, they're not responding to this book nearly as much, because if they do, that means they have to do something about it. They have to change their lifestyle. They have to change where they dig in on things, and so where they're going to take stands and where they're not. So I'm hoping you will be willing to count the cost, and that you realize it is worth it. They are worth it, because if they're living these false lives, living in a false narrative, that is not doing them any good, because they're not living truth. We are called as believers to live and walk in the truth, and they're not doing that. I had a bit of a pity party last night. We went to a nice dinner, and I was looking around, and I was seeing like there was a group of older than us couples next to us. These beautiful little white-headed ladies had their nice clothes on. You know how people used to go out to nice dinners? Now people are just so overly casual, but they were dressed so nicely, and I just looked at them, and something about them made me sad. And all this development in my town, everything is just so different, and it all made me sad. So during this moment of sadness last night, I was praying, talking to the Lord, and I'm like, these people, I can see something in the lives they're living. What if I had just continued to live as if none of this is going on? Just go back to life as normal. What if I would have done that? There was just a split second where I considered that. And I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't do that for anything, because I feel we who do see, we're blessed. This discernment we've been given, we are blessed. God has given us this ability to see, and we're also willing to walk in it. So I'm just thankful for those of you who do pursue truth. Obviously, because you're here, you pursue truth. I'm glad for that. Now, what can you do with the truth you know? It's a challenge I'm going to place before you. What will you do with what you know? How can you share what you know? If you haven't gone through it before, I've got a series called How Do I Share What I Know? I'll put the link below, but it goes through some things about, it initiates with accept your role. Are you willing to step into this role and be more vocal? And then it goes from there, where it helps you to use your unique design to carry out the mission that God has placed before you. And so anyway, it's a series that has run on Rapture Ready, and now I have it all the links there on my website, and I've got one master link to get you there. So if you'd like to try it, I would love to have you do it. Everything I do through Daybreak is free. I don't charge anybody anything for the material that I put out. For the book, it's free. Even the print book, I've got it set on Amazon where it is, it's as low as they will allow it, so they make a profit, but I get no royalties. I just want people to know I want to use the gifts that God has given me to help others see what's going on, wake up and wake up themselves, and then also help wake up the people around them. And I do not mean the Q kind of wake up. I do not, because that's not something I follow. I believe there's a lot of deception in that. I know there's a lot of great people involved in it, but to me, from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of deception in Q, and I can't follow where I know there's massive deception. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope I hope that these videos, this one in particular, would address the prepare your heart. How do you prepare your heart? Because you will have to prepare your heart for the days ahead. It's not just in what's coming. It's in what you're going to have to let go. I see, and it's something maybe I'll address a little more in depth in another video, but we are more and more going to have to detach from this world. You know, there are verses that come to mind about, about we're supposed to come out of this world system. I see it. I see that's what we're going to be forced to do for those of us who are not toeing the line and doing what they're wanting us to do. So I say God bless you. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you'll check out the next video, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.